Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The Brickyard always brings its own challenges, but tonight we look to see which drivers are able to come up to the challenge of coming out on top in MLSR action. Major League Sim Racing is all set to go for its A Open Series once again this evening, as tonight we get geared up for a special event here at the Brickyard, the Varda Enterprises 225 here on Precision Entertainment. Welcome everyone to tonight's coverage. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is James Newton. Bradley Cooper is our producer for this evening's coverage, as we have our cameras provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. This evening's going to be an interesting night for the competitors, because we've already seen with the B Open Series the challenges that can happen at the Brickyard, especially to get passes done. But tonight, the Cup cars are a whole different beast.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what they can do. Obviously, the higher top speeds and just the excitement of having the Cup cars on this track. It's going to be quite a serious battle for contention. The drafting is going to be very, very important. How you work your way through the field, and if you can make it to the end at all, which is what all the drivers, of course, will be trying to keep their racing driver urges under control until those last couple of laps.
Absolutely, and mind you, for a track like this, you have to make sure you get to the bottom of the circuit. We've seen with only 9.2 degrees of banking, give or take, around here. It's so critical to get around to that white line, if you will. If you leave even half a lane up, it could potentially see you in the barrier into the short chutes, or especially we've seen out of turn 2 seems to be the danger area. And all of this is to say, it's still early on in the campaign in the first place. It's only the second week in this series, with tracks like Auto Club, like Iowa, and Richmond in upcoming weeks after this. Remember, they originally planned to be about 85 laps on the distance when it came to the Brickyard. They did bump it to 90 for this week's festivities, though. That being said, as you look at your race analysis for today, that 65% fuel is going to make things very interesting on the strategy game, wouldn't it be today, James?
Yeah, definitely. We've heard some rumblings about a little over 20 laps is what they can be doing. So again, such an enormous track. You're wide open for so long. And of course, those 4 tire sets will be getting their workout as well. This is going to be, and not in terms of time, but in terms of the track ramping up, it's going to be a very, very fast race.
Track position is going to be extremely important. Yes, you can come from the back to the front, but you better pick the right strategy for it. And with so much in terms of the fuel window tightness to go, you're likely using every single set to get to the end of the race tonight at the bare minimum. If you end up burning a set too early, we might see some drivers have to keep their good old Goodyear Eagles on their machines. Taking a look at some of the drivers as they qualify tonight, we already have 39 in this session. This includes Jonathan Pereira, Joe Manella, and Christian Barnes is another one you're going to have to keep an eye on. As you can see, Jamel Love just took the pole, though, in the past few moments. That was only done with one qualifying lap for the 3 car.
Wow, that's a statement right there. Mel Love putting down a pretty serious lap. Actually, looks like it is identical to Sean Hook on a 51.609. So it looks like they are tied at the top. Obviously, I assume that Hook, it looks like it's showing off by 1,000th of a second. So the total amount of time looks identical, but I believe that Jamel Love took it by 1,000th there, Justin.
Even to the 10,000th is going to be where it usually rounds when it's that close. That is the case potentially here. Christian Barnes jumped up to the top 3 meanwhile. You see some of the others already take the tow truck to finish up their qualifying laps here. Barnes, you see him in multiple different series. He was the winner in C Open this past Tuesday, actually. Tim, be one of your front runners possibly here tonight. Barrera looking to put up a lap here. This is Manila, I should rather say. Working the track. Speaking of times, it's up in the top 10. The 92nd lap was really good after the first lap was invalidated.
Yeah, Manila looking good, currently in the top 10. So again, you see the driver slinging the car through the final corner and right down the middle of the track for Barrera. Takes forever to get to the line with how large this circuit is. A little bit of a initial D action. Actually, not quite a bad little stoppy there.
A stoppy?
Basically bringing the car to a stop while basically sideways, just kind of using up the tires, flat spotting for the drivers with their pinkies in the air.
Okay, especially with the pinkies in the air. You have to pinky swear while you spin the car out sometimes. But hey, it looks like most of the field has finished up their qualifying 3 drivers. Rod Eisenberg, Dave Allen should say, and Mike McCoy Sr. all did not put up qualifying efforts here for this evening's race. But mostly everyone did put something up on the board here tonight. Joshua Sanek also did not put a time up on the qualifying session. But we're just about geared up and ready to find out who's going to come out on top here tonight for the Varda Enterprises 225 for the MLSR as we get all set to go to find out how they're going to sort out and start tonight. Have 2 minutes to grid up and go here for this evening as Jamel Love is at the front of the order. Sean Hook is in the second spot. It is by 1/1000th of a second. Second row, you'll find Christian Barnes there. Ronald Berlin will start in row number 2 this evening in the Canadian Tire entry. Then you throw back a row. That's where Ethan Thompson is. John Williams is down in the 6th position here this evening. 7th spot is where we were keeping an eye on the qualifying run. Remember the 90 machine on speed? Joe Manella, one of the Conti paint schemes, will start alongside the ignition driver of Adam Ramsey. And your top 10 is rounding out up at the front with Jamal Poe. Then you also have Brad Harris in the 67 in the top 10.
Only takes half a second back, and you are outside the top 10. Joshua Wise in the 91 lines up 11th alongside the 12 of Chasen McCook, who had a really, really good run last time out in the A Open. Back to 13th, that is the 46 of Jason Trockey. Zach Domer, winner last time out in the A Open, lines up in 14th for the 014. 15th is Kyler Adams in the 21 alongside Jacob Loesch in the 51. 15th and 16th, respectively. 17th is William Van Alstyne in the 23 Home Depot machine. The 28 of Richard Wilson Jr. lining up alongside. 19th goes the way of the 18 Mike Wayne Robinson. 20th place goes to Scott Matthews in the number 7.
Jonathan Pereira starts 21st with Russell Merchanak down in 22nd position. 1.1 seconds off the pole time. You throw it to the next row. Those drivers from there are in the 52.7 still, with Joseph Eisenberg down the order. You have Chris Etchepar down in 24th position tonight. And his machine was solid on Thursday. Then you have Gregory Van Nuys, should rather say, with Joe Conan in the top 26. Looks like Mike Robinson didn't get fired up in the background. That's why a few cars have not gone on the grid yet. But Christopher Reel is one of those that looks to keep it clean. Alongside him is J.J. Pope in the top 28. And rounding out the top 30 is Nicholas Kelch and Dakota Sidrus are in the top 30. A few other drivers will quickly scroll through here as they're already to the back straightaway. Robert Burke, Corey Powell in the top 32. Christopher Toppings and Gary May looking to carve their way through the field. One other driver set a qualifying lap. That was John Evans here tonight in the order. That sees him down in 35th. Then it's Dave Allen. Then throw it back an extra row. That's where we find Joshua Sanek along with Gerard Eisenberg, who missed the start of this one. And Mike McCoy rounds out the entries here tonight. 38 have made it to the Brickyard in time to get ready for the green flag. Quick keys to victory, James.
Well, obviously you see how many cars there are. Again, trying to hit those thresholds, trying to come through the field. It's going to be a long, long stretch as long as we stay green. So drivers, again, maybe not trying to be a hero, but just continuing to kind of move up spot by spot versus trying to do something crazy and wild, because when we have large accidents, man, they are night enders here.
Happy to have you with us for tonight's coverage of Major League Sim Racing, the A Open Series. Ready to fly from the Brickyard. The pace car is off. It's Love who controls things up at the front. Barney with the green in hand. Hook looking to time up things right. The green flag is out. We're underway from Indy. And we're wrecking already. Back of the field, McCoy Jr. amongst those in it. Sanek amongst those spinning around. Dave Allen with issues. And we have drivers stacking up at the back. Well, they still try and gather it up. The leaders are in turn 2.
Still side by side. We're still staying green if they can get that all sorted out. And it is still side by side for the lead. Plenty of margin early on. Have a look here. Jamel Love still hanging on in front of Sean Hook. It is just too close to call at the moment.
Now, Hook did a great job to keep it side by side there. As, again, chaos at the start. Let's take a look at what happened here. And remember, this is going to be happening around the 30s. That brings us to a stack up right here. You see how they're all separated out here, James? Watch what happens once they reach the back of the field.
Oh, very square hit. And the left rear of the 91 going around as well. We saw how late, just how late our pulse hit. Oh, and a secondary crash as well. Wow, wow, wow. So trying to get that untangled. And Jamel Love very late in the starting stripe. So really trying to see if he could catch any of the competitors off guard, but basically caught people who were almost 200 yards back behind him.
Seen already, they were battling side by side for at least half of the first 2 laps there up at the top 2. But the 3 now looks to try to establish clean air. Quarter second up in front for the time being. Barnes stays in line. First drivers trying to make some battles include John Williams trying to defend at the moment. Actually lost a spot. As you see Hook have a technical issue and fall down the order. Well, that's not expected. Your second place driver is falling down because they may be losing connection to the circuit.
I don't know if I see them any
there they
longer.
Are.
There we are.
And they're letting everybody go. And obviously when this happens, you don't want to be that driver that has a tech issue, but obviously Hook's saying, if no one can tell where I am, I don't want to cause a wreck. I'm just going to move to the bottom.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really good call. It hurts, right? You're right up at the front. You have the lead half the time. Trying to take it to Love, but doing the responsible thing. Also for yourself as well, right? If you lose all those spots, it can cause you a ton of headache. But if you cause an accident, it could be you that hits the wall even harder than any competitor and could end your night anyway. So definitely the right call to make there.
Van Alstyne amongst those trying to find a way to move ahead. The 23 machine so far is up 4 so far. Good job for William to pick things up, and you can tell, try to do things by getting clean air in the front nose, and part of that with some of the drivers not hitting the bottom as well as they can yet. You have to find a way to offset the difference in line. You see, getting some clean air in the front end going to help the rotation. Set yourself up to then pick up the draft for the straightaway, set for the pass.
Absolutely, you want to be as slippery as possible down the straightaway, and then you want to have fresh, clean air in the corners. And a little bit of sideways action there as somebody goes very shallow into 2. Who's that sliding up the track? They're going to lose tons.
Joshua Wise
out of the corner of the 91, it looks like it's Joshua Wise.
Yep, it is. And that's actually going to put Wise right into this conversation for the battle. Wise is down in 10th to start off the lap. Now going to have to fight just to hold on to 11th position. There's the wiggle. Contact. Zach Domer amongst those who came away with the win last time, causing chaos. Robinson able to survive the chaos as they shuffle back in the line.
It was a very close call, Justin, and everybody able to make it out, but again, momentum is king here at Indianapolis. We catch looks like a jackalope or a deer potentially in the helmet. Mike Wayne Robinson, who didn't exactly behave like a deer in the headlights, but was able to get away with that. And they're still squirrely coming out of turn 2.
Yes, you see how much Mike is just trying to keep things steady. Speak with him during the first caution flag, one of those who's worked in the broadcast with us so far this season when it comes to the C Open Series that happens on the Tuesdays here on the network. That being said, obviously, he mentioned how difficult this track was when we were talking with him before today's action, James, and part of that is just partly with the aero, but also just difficult to keep stable. You can tell he doesn't want to lose any more spots, though. Going defensive, and he gets shipped.
Yeah, 2 big moments, and this is kind of going to be a third, trying to get to the wall without losing another spot, having to dive down the inside into 1, dive down the inside into 2 at the same time, and set themselves up for a world of hurt down this back straight. Seems like that Chevy's got it under control for the precision driver, but my goodness. The other one that is looking quite squirrely is the 23 of William Van Alstyne, who again has been trying to make some big moves, but that Toyota Camry, a couple spots ahead, is also looking very, very twitchy. So potentially have settled down now, but really, really hustling the cars. We have a little bit more action up ahead. We've got 2x2 all over the place.
You see, headed toward an Orbaning, actually. That is Trotsky. Either way, the 46, one of the Polish drivers in the field, looking to stay out of trouble here. That 46 machine, also up above 4 positions. See right there, not going to get too close for the side draft effect yet, but surely wants to at least try and keep the lower line. While it's going to compromise him right there a bit, it's still setting up to where he can still battle with this 11 machine. You see, every time he tries to get low, the problem is he went too low too quickly, and now there's a spin. There goes the 91. That's Wise in the wall.
Keep it. Oh, and that was kind of a tricky look there. Oh, and that left front is, I mean, obviously there is damage visually, but that does not look like that car is straight at all.
Caution
Not the
flag.
worst impact considering how fast you're coming out of that corner and collecting no cars in the process as well. So obviously having such issues early on. Oh, and that's an enormous issue.
Mike is in it, and oh no, it's Toppings joining in with contact. Also a slide in for John Edwards nearly. So our in-race reporter immediately coming into chaos. Let's see how this happened. Oh, it's the purple and gray machine again. Remember the last contact, they both slam.
I am so surprised that Edwards, at the very end of the accident, did not get into both cars, kind of trying to right themselves. So again, coming back down for Robinson and just getting those left sides on the grass, almost able to save it. A little bit of overcorrection to the outside and able to keep up momentum. But right here, we're going to have a slamming of the brakes. Let's see who it is. Oh, it's the 43. Christopher Toppings. And then right here, Edwards is going to try to join in. Both cars, the 43 and 18, pulling into the lane. And nowhere for Edwards to go. And absolutely terrifying for the number 9 Chevy.
That could have gotten bad, really bad, to say the very least there after a situation like that. But hey, here's a look. He's already slowed up. Just doesn't expect the 43 to move up and the 18 to move up.
Good heads-up driving there, but that, again, it's how many feet can you put on the brakes?
And pit stop time, it looks like. We're about 10 laps in. Makes sense for a lot of the drivers on fuel. Ethan Thompson trying a different strategy. He was one of those who went on the counter strategy on Thursday in the B Open race. So a lot of people pitting, a lot of people staying out here. Do you like the decisions? Because keep in mind, rough math-wise, you still have to make the same amount of pit stops regardless. This is just offsetting your final stop possibly by 10 laps.
Yeah, trying to see if the drivers are also expecting more mayhem throughout the races. We have the leader missing the pit box a little bit. Barnes out first.
I think it doesn't matter in the case of the 3. I believe he's one of those who just took tires, yes. A few drivers actually took fuel only there, saving a set of Goodyear Eagles. Tire wear, in some cases, not too bad here, but you can see differences long term. Now, as they all peel off the pit lane, it's going to be Thompson, Ramsey amongst those teammates working together that are up at the front of the field here, that are looking to control things. In other news, we did say we have an in-race reporter here tonight. It just so happens to be the one involved in the caution. Mikey Robinson, do you have a copy?
Yeah, we're good. What's up, buddy?
Well, you said you wanted to be in-race reporter tonight, and well, you were in the first caution. What happened?
Well, I think it was a mixture of a couple of things. Just, somebody diving it in, no room. But, it happens. I mean, I got the car saved, only got 37 seconds worth of damage, but we're going to be back out there, no problem. We got a fast car tonight, that's for sure.
Obviously, you were talking about the difficulty to drive this racetrack. What sort of adjustments do you expect to make for a race like this, with it being so track sensitive and, more important, track position sensitive?
Oh, I mean, it's tight off of 2 and loose everywhere else, if that gives you any kind of idea of what we're dealing with right now. Right now, we're just going to have to ride it out. I mean, there's going to be guys that probably added a couple of clicks of offset, just maybe get their car a little settled out. But right now, no changes really need to be made, at least on my end.
Let you get back to your group here for tonight. Good luck.
No, thank you, man.
Mikey Robinson, one of those who broadcasts with us here on Precision Entertainment. And he said it himself, it's not fun when your car's loose everywhere, James, for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. What I was expecting him to say was, yeah, it's a little, little tight off 2, little loose into 3. And he said it's tight off 2, and everywhere that isn't turn 2, it's loose. And that is obviously good information for Mike to have on hand, but that doesn't make the confidence level really rise when you have issues all across the track, not specific to Mikey, but across all of the competitors. As we see just an enormous 30-plus car field. Great support here for this series as well. competitors trying to get those fronts into a decent working temperature. And I think normally I always expect right after a caution that drivers are going to try to back off, maybe, you know, try to get into a groove, big long run, something like that. And I've been proven wrong time and time again, JP. So I'm expecting aggression straight out of the box here.
I'm expecting that too with the way things are looking here tonight, here this evening. What's expected to be a bit of a wild one, if you will. The first drivers who pit are about 10th on back here this evening. You have Thompson, Ramsey, then Jamal Blount up in the top 3. Domer is now in the top 4, despite some contact earlier. Hook did stay out after his technical issue. He's back up to about where he was running in the top 5. Green flag is out. We're back underway. And not sure what happened in the back of the field. One of the lap cars who came off pit road, the 7 of Scott Matthews, stayed 3 wide with some of the lead cars.
Yeah, still not looking up to speed, and now on the apex of 1. Cars going around the outside. And it's kind of at maybe 3/4 speed or so. Almost 3 wide here coming out of 2. And now they're spreading out.
Near door-to-door contact there, that involving drivers like Stronke trying to survive up the middle. We have some contact though. The 3 nearly got sent around by Powell. Was able to hold on to it right in front of Williams. Here comes the 90 also looking to jump in.
Ooh, 2 wall strikes as they exit. Powell in the 92. Very, very interested in running different lines. Not afraid to run something. This is an absolute hornet's nest here at the 23. Van Alstyne trying to have a look down the inside. We maybe see it a 4 wide here in just a bit, depending on how the chips fall. Straight around the outside goes. It's like the 24 just in behind us as we see Mike Robinson make their way back up through the field. As far as Sean Hook, you said that earlier there, JP. This is the best thing that could have happened. That you know, an early caution bringing them back in, not just into the top 10, but well into the top 10 for the 88. So kind of a good look for Hook at the moment.
And a lot of the drivers who stayed out are keeping track positions, so they did a good job at least preserving the Goodyear Eagles, it feels like. But remember, drivers like Thompson still have about 10+ laps to think about pit stops in the upcoming run here. The 98 machine already up by almost a full second. And keep in mind, he's been fast so far in a majority of his series. At Daytona, though, didn't have the best of luck in this series, down to 33rd. Caution flag is out, however, and it's another incident up in the corner. John Edwards amongst those against the wall with Senek. You also see Joe Conan was the one driving away from the scene.
Conan unfortunately picking up a B-wall flag. Oh, just bouncing off of the wall. They go straight up in. Edwards now facing the wrong way. We'll get another look at this. Looking at the Chrome 72. Looks like they are joining. And just straight into the side of the 9. That thing is toast.
Great car pile up yet again. Puts us under the yellow flag. Only a few laps into this run. Edwards has gone on the tow truck. That car will destabilize and de-wedge if you aren't too careful. And that's exactly what happened to Edwards to cause that. So, puts us under the caution yet again here at the Brickyard, here for tonight's coverage. Again, we do have as part, our sponsor, should say, for this evening's action in Varda Enterprises. Here this evening, if you need a true jack of all trades, Varda Time Enterprises handles professional tree removal, rental properties, and handyman work all under one roof. If you have a problem, call Varda Time. We've got the solution. When it's green, it's Varda Time. This support in turn comes from Dean Varda, a longtime competitor at Norway Speedway, who scored his first Super Late Model feature win back in 2019 when he led every lap essentially wire to wire, and last year He was the driver who took the Spectator Eliminators race in a Chevy 2500 truck. In our words, as the league will describe, a real racer with real solutions. Call Dean at Varda time. So with that being said, Justin Prince, James Newton, and Bradley Cooper, our producer here for this evening's coverage, as we seen a majority of the field come back down pit road this time by, as we've seen a couple cautions so far for the Brickyard. Attrition building up a little bit here, but that's to be expected at a track where it's going to be hard to pass, and sometimes you have to be aggressive to make said passes and then be aggressive on your setup to make sure you're fast enough to make said passes again.
Yeah, it really is such a tricky type of circuit. Well, I think the other thing is, again, if somebody's going for a move and they're not able to pull it off, you can pull off moves yourself by just kind of holding station as best you can. As we saw earlier on, a lot of drivers trying to go to the inside, trying to fight off drivers that had a little bit of a better run. But as we spoke about earlier, trying to get all of the air on the front of the nose through the corners, and then a nice draft down the straightaway, and all the competitors trying to keep you from having air on your nose in the corners and giving you nothing down the straightaway, as we saw them fan out 3 and almost 4 wide. So again, I think that the aggression level is just going to continue to rise. I'm interested in a long run, trying to see which drivers are going to be potentially holding back. It looks like absolutely no one's holding back at this time.
Yeah, right now we already have a point where we have 7, 8 different drivers here in this one that are still getting repairs done on the machines. Dave Allen, JJ Pope, Mike McCoy Sr. are all drivers who are laps down as well with situations for their nights. Pope wants them that is going to be hoping for a little bit of luck here as you see the repairs being done for the rest of the drivers. That in mind, as drivers like Domer did take some repairs after their contact from earlier with their pit stop under this caution, the first who pit this one was Sean Hook, who will be starting down in 19th position in that Rogue Energy machine / Jurassic Park paint scheme. Depends on which angle you look, you know what I mean? One angle you'll see one scheme, one you'll see the other. That's the case of Domer, I should rather say. Mixing myself up here. Regardless, what I'm trying to say is you're still having 3 or 4 different drivers who have yet to take service at all, James.
Yeah, still trying to keep that track position. It looks like a pretty good idea. Obviously, we are about 2/3 of the way, actually way further than that, into what we're expecting to have for the fuel strategy. Again, about 20 to 25 laps, a little closer to 22 to 24. But obviously, we've had a handful of laps, a plethora of laps under caution. So that's going to also throw the fuel strategy off just a little bit. Drivers may not need to hold back. And again, I keep saying hold back like they're not going absolutely hammer and tongs out at the front and indeed throughout this field. Again, drivers weaving, pace car lights coming off, and we are about to get going once again.
Jade coming over top the racetrack right now. No issue this time, though. I think it's going to stay about 85 degrees Fahrenheit in the track temp. Winds are also expected to stay constant. It's just going to be some clouds that may impact your track temp. That's at 110 at the moment. See that difference right now with the cloudy skybox? But now as they get ready for the restart, keep in mind in some series, if it got cooler, it actually got a little bit trickier even with more grip in terms of some of the setup for pass-to-pass opportunities. Teammates 1, 2, 3 from ignition. They hit the ignition buttons. We're back underway. And we're crashing at the back. Looks like at least a couple drivers around, including Richard Wilson Jr., but no caution. We stay green.
Glad we were able to stay green. Let's have a look. And again, they're really trying to get, so what are they trying to do here? They're trying to time, oh man. Wow, the rear axle at 9. very, very tough impact there. And again, having to do that 3-point turn across the start-finish line. The drivers are trying to time their run so that they can have the overspeed on their competitors by the time they hit the start-finish line. And again, we're still under green as they dice it through. The two almost identical looking machines looking at and a big moment there. The three almost down pit road.
Love has broken something possibly hard. Contact speeding down the lane. And there goes the three's chances. Was one of the top drivers to start the night. Not anymore. And now, he has stopped it on pit road. Let's see what happened. He was on the curb trying to make a pass after some physicality.
Oh, upset on that little, I wouldn't even call it a sausage curve. Oh my goodness. What an impact. And did not go straight into that concrete barrier that separates the start-finish straight from the pit wall, or probably the pit wall proper. Currently the three back into their pit stop. That's obviously going to bring out a caution.
Van Nuys is actually the reason for the caution flag, and guess who was in it? The 014, the winner from Daytona, Domer, got essentially squeezed up. Watch this replay. And obviously you see big checkups there for the 24, and then, well, there was a hole there. It was a closing hole, but there was a bit of one there.
Yeah, like the 24 is closing it, but again, if you open a door, if the door is open, if you're able to get your nose, oh, it's so close.
That's a little bit tighter on that angle, actually. That looked to be like you would have had to have near perfect reaction to the run coming.
Yeah, and obviously that wouldn't even have been a lift for the 014, right? He would have probably had to like get on the brakes properly to keep from using that momentum. That was a lot of overspeed that the 014 had.
Now our yellow flag, and this puts us around already 21 laps in, this time by Love. Now amongst those out of the race, we're down to 34 already still left on the track. Of those, 31 still in the lead lap. This should be the time where we see Team Ignition come in, and it will be. Because this is about around, give or take the projections we've seen the splits. Christian Barnes rolling the dice, electing to stay out, as well as a couple others here for track position again.
Yeah, I think I'm liking the calls now. Obviously, with the amount of, well, not even attrition, it's not about how many cars aren't making it to the end of this one. It's more just, it seems like we're kind of start, stop in terms of the way that we're going racing. So making up a spot on the restart and holding your position seems to be better than trying to fight for 2, 3, and 4 if we're running into issues a little later on. So Christian Barnes taking over at the front, looking quite good in the 27. As you said, the C open, running quite there as well as we see the race off pit road.
That includes drivers like Robinson up in the top 5 of that race. Ethan Thompson was the first one off of it. But as we mentioned, Christian Barnes was the one who said, you know what, I want to roll the dice. Christian Barnes, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
What brings you to this series?
Corey Powell was like, hey, you want to come race over here on Sunday? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, give me something to do.
And how are you enjoying that so far?
Honestly, you know, kind of fun. Did the Daytona race. I mean, it's Daytona, you know, when the wreck happens, you never know what's gonna happen. So now we're doing Indy, and it's all about strategy, when you pit, when you stay out, fuel mileage, all that stuff. So just hoping to stay in the front of it.
What are some of the major things you've been discussing in a series like this with your teammates compared to what you normally do in, say, a Mystic Racing League that we see on our networks during the week?
So far, I've done minimal races, but from the races I've done, it's mostly you got to be on top of strategy. It doesn't always turn into Wreckfest. You know, there's going to be a lot of long green flag runs, and you just got to be on top of it. And any mistake really will take you out of it. So, you know, it's definitely been really fun because of that. You know, you don't have to always worry about short run speed. You can take it easy early on, worry about saving your tires, and, you know, go at the end. And it's been pretty fun so far.
Let's get back to your team. Good luck the rest of the way here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Christian Barnes catching up with him. Runs a variety of different series here, James, and obviously adding this to the portfolio. Winner in the trucks on Tuesday we talked about. It would be nice to pick up a cup win to that total as well, I guess you could say, for him if he was to do well tonight. He finished in the top 10 at Daytona.
Absolutely. And of course, there's a little bit of pride in there as well for being able to do well in a lot of different series, a lot of different machinery, as you spoke about. And quite a well-rounded driver in the 27 at the moment. And let's see what they can do on this restart.
So it's Barnes, Trocchi in the top 2. Hook, along with Martinak in the top 4. Adams alongside Real, and then you have the people who pit. Manella, Ramsey, Thompson, Berlin up there. Keep in mind the 90 took no tires, but was one of those, believe, who is in the conversation for tires the previous stop. So you have anywhere between fresh tires to some drivers with about 10 laps or so on the average on their Goodyear Eagles here. Now, the big thing's going to be, are all these drivers able to make the proper adjustments? Because some may have taken 2, Wise possibly, and obviously you have to make sure you keep up with the changes of the racetrack, especially as this track gets more and more rubber in theory. Even with it expected to stay about the same with the air temp.
Yeah, of course, the driver's trying to work out the evolution of the track as you're speaking about, and trying to make sure that they are going when they need to go. And as Christian Barnes was saying, trying to keep the fuel mileage in check as well, as I doubt drivers were expecting this kind of stop-start beginning. And I'm interested to see when Barnes goes as well, because it looks like everybody's been waiting to the last second on the restart zone.
Here we go. Green, we're back underway, and a good start for Barnes. Brains on Hook. Hook able to jump up to second immediately. And it's going to get interesting how some of these drivers stay up here. The 46 dropped down to third already. Up the racetrack goes Russell. Martinak going right to the back, as that strategy didn't work out the greatest off the rip.
No, it did not fall in. It looks like the outside is not going to be your friend at the moment, especially on these restarts. It doesn't look like. Just trying to stay down low and keep somebody from trying to use a can opener on your left side, as all the margins are getting so tight. See again, Van Alstyne in the middle of this 4-5 car knot. Now the 43 going very, apologies, the 46 going very defensive.
He hit the wall, actually.
On Tyler Adams.
He might have broke something. The car looks okay cosmetically in that, but as you can see, some of the errors side by side. The thing about this machine, and I noticed this in multiple different broadcasts with the next-gen car this week here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you're not going to see potential body damage, but you can see with the 46, you sure will feel the damage in the steering wheel.
Jason Trocchi really having a difficult time. And again, the freight train on our right, but we're going to still be down the inside of somebody.
Already, you say Poe trying to find a way to go on the outside in the 8. The Dollar General scheme. Looking to keep it clean and able to zip by. All this as well, race lead. Remember, Hook was very intent to try and go for it early. When he had the track position before tech issues, he wants it back right now.
Absolutely
Caution.
Good fight back drive as we have another caution out.
And we're back under yellow, as I believe there was a spin for Joshua Wise in the 91. It's been a bit of a battle for him, it feels like, today. He was on the inside coming out of turn 2. Turn 1 should say. Numbers are hard, but the spin is also hard to save. So obviously, what is the big thing when you're battling a car like this that you're able to do? Well, as you can see, you start to get a slide with this car. It's so hard to save it. You have to be near perfect on feeling it in the wheel. Wise wasn't able to get that sensation he needed to get it to grip up without a correction. That's why he's now down to 31st again. That's back into the yellow. We've had a caution about every 7 to 10 laps so far here tonight. Bit of attrition really kicking up early on here from the track.
Yeah, and I think that, again, I would expect that to be surprising some of the drivers. As long as it's not them, I'm not sure how sad they may be feeling. But it really is going to be playing on, again, just the strategy, right? How many laps are we, you know, how many laps have we run under caution? How many times are we going to be going yellow? And kind of what can you expect, right? If you can project the rest of your, you know, basically the rest of the race with your team, if you're able to kind of figure out what you think's going to happen. I mean, we are almost a third of the way through this race. And if they kind of project the way that they're going about it, it may be beneficial to potentially just kind of continue staying out, continue keeping that, as we have somebody trying to, looks like Vanier?
Kyler Adams, too.
Up there. 46 heading on in.
Truckee is amongst those peeling on down. You have Loesch amongst those in. You have some of the others involved in incidents on some of the cautions or no caution situations as well, peeling on down. But Barnes is one of those who stays out. Hook's connection came back, and that's got to be a concern throughout the evening for the 88. If there's any big spikes like that, he might have to drop again. He's already had to come back once from it. You know who might be a good person to catch up with is we've seen some different strategies tonight from one of the teams, that being Team Ignition. Was going to show Adam Ramsey, but I believe he's talking and showing his entire perspective to the entire team. One of those trying to carve their way to the pack here. Ethan Thompson, who's been strong in the races here at the Brickyard in both events. Ethan Thompson, do you have a copy in the broadcast booth?
Hey, gotcha.
Catching up with you once again. You're currently down in 12. What's it like right now for you and your team?
I mean, for the team, it's been good. I mean, we just got mired back a little bit. The outside line didn't go at all on that restart, so I lost a bunch of spots. But, I mean, everything feels good. Just got to make sure we stay away from all the nonsense, and we'll get work back up there.
How big is the dirty air effect in this car compared to what you felt on Thursday?
These definitely run a little bit tighter than the O'Reilly car does. So you definitely got to lift a little bit sooner to make sure that you don't plow through the corner. But it's not too terrible. But it's just a matter of just being patient is the main thing.
So as we come up to the restart, what's kind of the plan here for you and your team? Because we've seen you in both events be a part of the Contra strat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be, you know, I mean, I'll try to get anything I can on the restart if it presents itself, but I'm not going to do anything crazy to put myself or a teammate in jeopardy. And I'll just get to work once we get ourselves in a safe and comfortable spot.
Thanks for the time.
Yep, you too.
Ethan Thompson takes some time to speak with us there. By the way, the 88 did drop down the order, but James, it's not because of choice. The sim said, here's your connection flag. Please fix it.
Wow, so that's, again, a similar fate for the 88, who, again, through pit stops and just kind of basically what Thompson just said, right? Trying to keep the ratchet going where you're not losing spots, and when there's an opportunity, as it looks, the 88 now has potentially exited. I'm gonna have to, oh, there we go. We are back in the second pit box, but obviously absolute heartbreak at the moment for the 88, who again has been running so strong, looking really, really good, staying out of trouble. All of these things are how you win this race, but just absolute disaster when it comes to the technical side of things.
And Guess you can compare it to an engine failure in real life, where you think you fixed the problem and then the motor starts blowing up again. You fix the motor again. Although this is a more extrapolated time and you continuously have it repeat itself, you're just trying to log laps if you can. Hook, not going to be able to come back on the racetrack until that connection is stabilized, usually by the sim standards. Barnes is set up alongside Manella up in the front row, though. Ramsey, McCook is a part of the top 4. Poe, followed by Van Alstyne. You have Berlin, Robinson, Harris, Williams, part of the top 10. There's been a couple stack-ups here on these restarts here from Indianapolis. What do we see this time? Coming to start lap 30. Green, back underway. There's a couple drivers from Tarston, Wilson Jr. at the back, but the front of the field is good.
Much quicker, a much sooner start for the 27, about a third of the way into the restart zone. The later that it seems the leader holds it, the more that the rear of the field seems to have an issue. But we are still rocking and rolling as they tear down the back straight.
Rocking, rolling, rushing ahead, if you will. All trying to find a way to get to the point, to say the very least. You can see how Robinson's amongst those on the attack.
Runs it down the inside of McCook. Jason McCook, one of the drivers doing quite a good job last time out at Daytona in the A Open. As Van Alstyne trying to flirt with the inside of one. Right on board with Robinson.
Yeah, and obviously just trying to pick up spot after spot. That's the huge thing that we kind of alluded to here in the importance of things. And drivers such as what we've seen here with Ramsey are looking to do the same. They're all snaking about, following the mindset of, if you need draft, you better try and keep up with it. Ramsey missed the bottom with that line, might open the door here for third.
Ramsey had a huge moment as Van Alstyne having a bit of a moment out of the corner as well. The 23 down the inside and has an even bigger moment. He's going to have to basically go to the bottom to keep out of the way of all the cars coming by. Incredible how much time you can lose by just a small mistake.
Yeah, we're really seeing it here with a couple different drivers just trying to fight as this track with the cloud cover. The big thing is, the more these clouds stay over with the way the skybox works, the more this track is going to grip up. The temperature has dropped 5 degrees since we last looked at it. As you can see, some of those from the Ideal family of machines looking to try and move ahead. 3 wide. That includes Sidera's trying to hold on in the middle, with Pereira having to back off.
Pereira trying to see what they can do out here. And these drivers, they just kind of get stuck on the outside. It does not seem like the ideal spot. It's a big old wall strike and into the side of, looks like the 45 was the 46. And they will continue to stay side by side. Any overlap into one doesn't look like it. And man, oh man, the 46 has tons of confidence into one.
Trying to get the pass back, and there goes Pereira loose. Good save, though. Portuguese driver able to make sure that car didn't snap back around. Pereira is now falling to 21st, one of those who pit 11 laps ago on the strategy. Those who pit the most recent caution when repairs for the 46 up the order. But here you see inside the top 10, Etchepar amongst those trying to stay in front of some of those clawing the way ahead, like his teammate Thompson.
Thompson on the inside of McCook. Threatening to be 3 wide as the Camry tries to have a look down the inside. Meanwhile, further back, the 014 trying to have a look down the inside into 1. Doesn't look like the aggression is dialed off at all, JP, but in terms of getting moves done, drivers seem to be maybe a little bit more compliant as they start to settle into this run.
Little bit of contact there, a bit. They shuffle back into line. Still, though, Toppings versus Domer. And more contact. There goes the 014. Able to hold on to it this time. The Chevy nearly spun it. And again, very physical for the Great Lakes Racing Machine. Able to keep it stable for the 29-year-old. As here we go, it's 3 wide ahead of them.
Grayson McCook on the outside. In the middle is going to be, it looks like Ronald Breland involved there. The 11 trying to hang on to it, almost goes around, able to catch it. Right hand down and gets it done. So the Canadian Tire 11 going to live to fight another day. Oh my goodness, all of these drivers just seem like they're just one little moment, one little wiggle away from losing 3 or 4 spots or the entire car.
See a couple of the drivers that are trying to recover. Remember, Topping spun out at one point, a little bit lower there out of 3. And he said he didn't mean to pinch him. So definitely aware at least that that wasn't the best of line pop up there. But for now, that's the thing. We might see your leader, Christian Barnes, be about to pit here. He's already 25 laps in. Some of the others, that, like you see here, like John Williams, looking to cut ahead, well, since they have about 10 laps of runway before a pit stop.
Yeah, Barnes really looking strong, but again, kind of that offset run. Everybody else all the way back to 15th, Nicholas Kelch in the 77 are running on 14 lap old tires, so almost half the amount, or a little more than half what Barnes is running. So very offset is the 27. Doing a fantastic job of leading this race, which is not the easiest thing, as we see again all the drivers snaking across that start finish line. They're just looking for that air. Of course, Barnes is punching a hole through.
Yeah, but we talked about where the range can go upward. I believe you expect around 20-ish, but I believe the highest you said before tonight was around 26, correct, in terms of the discussion points?
We heard a couple teams talking about maybe 22, 24 laps, something like that. We also heard Barnes when we had the interview. Barnes was talking about potentially saving. So if Barnes was able to save, then this may be what we're looking at is, I mean, we're on lap 26 at the moment. And if the 27 can get to 27, then that may be the new answer. As I guess it just kind of depends on how far the leader is able to go if they are saving, which I'd be very impressed as that lead has dropped down to around 0.2 of a second. There's no lead here. We're having a look at the 014 on the inside. So this is McCook with the 14 trying to fend off the 014, and Domer gets through just outside the top 10.
Just had an interesting thought here based on those numbers on the high you said about 24. What if you save to 25? Better yet, if you're Barnes, what if you somehow, with the cautions, can get 30 laps into the stint here? That puts you in a spot where it's a one-stopper if you save a lap of gas on each of the stints in theory. So if that is the case, it could get interesting if Barnes indeed does get to 50 to go here. He's 2 laps away from that mark, and as he still battles for the race lead, he could very well put himself in a spot where he needs one less pit stop than a lot of drivers in the field. You see him staying 4th.
Yeah, the 27 looks, well, obviously they have track position on the rest of the field. Doing a really good job. Nice and consistent as well. And Manella doesn't seem to be attacking as hard.
Oh man, he got loose, Barnes did, and that's why he didn't even need to attack there to make the pass. So all of a sudden the 90 is pulling away, but the caution is out. That might be what Barnes needs for his strat, but a lot of others too. We're under yellow, as that is Joseph Essenberg, who's gone in the wall and towed it up. Oh wow, 46 corrected up the track there, James.
Wow, yeah, that was, if you blink, you would have missed it. Have a look here. So we're on board with 46 McCook just in front of us. And again, it's the left front getting on again. I hesitate to call it a sausage curb, but there's a bit of concrete, it looks like, on the inside. Of course, drivers trying to get right to the bottom. They don't really care about where the white line is. The main thing is what is the race surface and what is grass. So as we come down, trying to put that left front, and that doesn't look like it's crabbing. I think it's just the optical illusion of the bodywork is off. But that cannot be helping the aerodynamics of the 46. And again, just washing up the outside really just doesn't seem like there's anything you can really do other than try and make it harder, make life more difficult for the driver on the bottom.
And so, as Robert Burks also had an issue apparently here for their machine. Yes, technical issues for Robert Burke. Should see everybody pit because in theory, it's a one stop after this. And a lot of the field still on their first, if not second set of tires. So should be okay to use that one set afterwards. If we get a caution after that point, it could be up in the air on when you use that banker set. But as everybody except for Sean Hook, who had tech issues, comes in, well, everybody uses set because some of these drivers are only 13 laps into a run.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Obviously, taking a shorter pit stop, gaining some ground in the pits. So we see the current leader taking all four, and they should be good until the final stop. Barnes able to retain second. Van Alstyne up into third. Look at the pit stops. I think that everybody has taken four. Joe Manel with kind of a funky pit stop, about a second quicker or so than a handful of others. But we saw them take all four tires, so extremely quick stuff from the 90 and still able to retain the lead.
Interesting, to say the least, but as you see your big movers here, good opportunity to take a reprieve and a deep breath because we're already coming up towards halfway in this one. We'll take a small break. We come back, the restart. You're watching tonight's coverage of MLSR for A-Open and its series for the Varda Enterprises 225 in the Brickyard.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a iRace or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Brickyard. We're coming up to 48 laps to go. Christian Barnes starting up at the front, I should say, alongside Manella. The 90 has now led 3 laps in with the outside, looking for a good fire-off here. Ramsey, Van Elstein, got Robinson up in the mix, alongside Poe. Here we go. To the restart zone we work. Green flag is out, underway once again. And the 90 got a great launch. Once again, control car always seems to get such massive launches here on iRacing. That just showcases how tricky it is to time it up to make sure you get the run on the inside. Barnes, as a result of that, is under attack for second. Look at that for Ramsey.
Had to try to go to the outside of the 23 and then try to stay inside, not running up into the 97. Extremely close maneuvering there from the 27. Barnes able to get through and still stretching a bit of an advantage in second place, as it looks like Ramsey's got their hands full with the 23 down low. Robinson going to be joining in a moment. Looks like they've actually settled down a bit, but that's going to be changing every single straight.
See all of them lining up, and once again Robinson saying, I don't want to be passed right now. Brad Harris saying, I'd like to make a pass, just at the same time as you see John Williams trying to make a pass down the inside. Gets alongside that 8 machine, and around goes the 67. Caution flag is out again.
Brad Harris about a foot away from the inside wall, gonna back it up. Plenty of space to do so. We are back under yellow once again. So again, we talked, JP, about how important track position is. This yellow flag running is not obviously not allowing the drivers in the rear to, and Robinson just into the back of the 67, it looks like. Bit of margin to the bottom, but both drivers not really on the inside of each other. So the 67 dives it up and then has to kind of get in line. Already a little bit loose, but then Robinson into the back.
And able to avoid damage, but does burn up the tires with a slide like that. That's going to hurt them by at least 5-10% on the slide. And as a result, yellow flag again, and a great chance trying to extend the fuel mileage. If there were any concerns about trying to make it a one-stop after this, those are gone here. And we'll find out if anybody even thinks of a top. If that was too short of a run, actually, to probably think about it. Because in one race called during the week, her drivers were able to extend 8 gallons if they got enough caution flags to track like this.
Yeah, you really can save a heap. And obviously so many opportunities. The other trick here, JP, is kind of, if you're thinking about it in a selfish way, which of course, you know, racing drivers don't want to be generous with time, don't want to be generous with information if it's not going to help them. If you're somebody like Barnes who is confident that they can really make the difference behind the wheel, try and save some fuel and run this potentially a kind of an alternate strategy if some of the other drivers and teams aren't picking up on the fact that a one-stop is possible if you save, well, now everybody is going to miraculously be in that window to only have another stop. So some drivers who may have to feather through, or again, trying to stay in a different gear, for example, to try and save that fuel, everyone else is going to have the ability now just by virtue of being under pace car for so long. So it's kind of nullifying any kind of cleverness that some of the teams may have had. And not sure if everybody's picking up on that throughout the field, but it may kind of fall into their lap. So a little bit of an opportunity for some of the eggheads on the grid to not have to scratch their head as much.
Up in the race lead, meanwhile, Joe Manella continuing to hold on in front. Joe, do you have a copy?
I do.
How's it feel being the race leader? How's that car felt in clean air?
Man, so the car feels a whole lot better in clean air. Kind of took me a while to get up here. Started in 7th, and just off of pitch strategy, kind of fell back mid-pack. But just trying to stay smart. You know, obviously, when you get out in front, you want to try and stay out in front. I'm going to try and do that while I save a little bit of fuel and see if I can't get it done at the end.
Obviously, you and your team working together here with Revolution Racing, what has been one of the major things you feel like you had to keep up with the track like this today?
So it's the track temperatures. You know, the setup we're running was built with track temps about 10 degrees cooler than they are now. We started at about 115 degrees, and you know, cars just firing off really tight, so you got to really work to keep it to the bottom. But now that it's cooled off, we've made some adjustments, and we're both kind of running a little bit more inside our comfort zone. And so yeah, it's just the track temperatures, the tires, the dirty air. It's all really difficult today.
What's your game plan now to try and win this race with 44 to go?
I'm gonna try and win it on fuel strategy. Hopefully I can save a little bit of fuel, let me go an extra lap or two, and then make a push for it at the end.
Once you get back to your team, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Also, don't blink because you just blinked. Okay, Joe Manella stayed up at the front of the field, and it looks like he is staying up to the top of the racetrack here for the restart, James. You can see, ready to try and get things going. You see what the Conti base it looks like here based on the logos, but now you heard it. He's going to try and extend this run if it comes down to it. If we get a long enough run, try and get fresher tires in theory, James, to try and outpace people at the end of the race.
Yeah, going to try and save it up and use it at the end. Interested to see if that's going to be the case. Obviously, if you've got a long run, the more that you're able to save, the more performance you have in the tires, the more fuel you have to use later on in the race. But again, if it keeps going yellow this often, then all the drivers are going to be kind of forced onto the same strategy. You're not really going to be able to make the difference. You just got to make sure you get these restarts just about right. I'm interested to see if the 23 of Van Alstyne has anything for the 27 of Christian Barnes, and Chris Echapar in the 99 as well on the outside. Looking forward to seeing if you have any side-by-side action up at the front, as the leaders haven't really been troubling each other.
We've seen some good battles up at the start of the race with side-by-side, but really, a lot of the opportunities for the lead itself have come on pit strategy, it feels like. It's similar to that what we've seen in real life. It's similar to that seen in multiple different leagues over the past week and a half, 2 weeks now at the Brickyard. But it kind of showcases how important it is to be that person in clean air and then feed everyone that dirty air. With 43 to go, 90 looks to be in control of the 27 of Barnes alongside him. We're stacking up at the back of the field. Green flag is out back of their way. At least 2 or 3 cars slammed into each other at the very tail end of the pack. And as you can see, Side Russ, I believe, was one of those, a part of that stack up. That's why there's a bit of confusion there, as some drivers went on the binders. More drivers are sliding into the walls. That includes drivers like Toppings up the circuit for the yellow. And he's getting hit. Powell's
There's
getting
so much
slammed.
smoke.
Yeah, that is what you just said it yourself. Smoke City.
Just absolutely covering the track. That's why I was trying to, I almost wanted to go through the camera to let the drivers know. Slow up. Oh man, so it wasn't really the hardest of hits, but then coming back up. Oh man, even that. I mean, obviously facing the wrong way, some maybe 3-4 impacts, but still extremely lucky for the 43. So we're gonna head right back up, and the front and rear fenders are gonna get just kissed. The 91's still out there like a sitting duck, but the 43 has some, most likely a little bit of front and rear damage on the bodywork. I'm not sure how hard these hit. So here again, sitting split. Oh my goodness, JP, that really could have been 2 halves of the 43 after that.
Chaos, chaos, chaos. Another yellow flag. And that also doesn't factor in. We almost wrecked before we took the green flag because they started stacking up behind Side Russ, and that was why he went down pit road to avoid the pit wall. Yeah, take a look at this. They checked up here. Big hit. That's why the 64 pit.
Wow, so a evasive maneuver into the pit lane. Wow. So again, right, the drivers, at this point, the leader hasn't gone, but how are they supposed to know? And that's the game that they're playing, right? Is they're trying to get around their opponents as quickly as possible and have the highest speed. So you see, they're all spread out. They're all plenty of space. But the cars in front, you know, you got McCook and everybody else up at the front, Powell in there too, on the inside. And they aren't really going anywhere. They're staying at a regular pace because the leaders have not fired off yet. So it's the accordion effect, but when you time it wrong, that's when you have to basically back off. And again, here we see the secondary incident. And every single time, I cannot believe these cars split this 43.
Say that, and then on that cue, at least 2 of the 3 did slam on in, a part of the chaos that struck. Pereira, Wilson Jr., May, Zenek, Alonso still getting repairs done on their cars. Coming up to 41 to go. All this is, wow, we'll see a wave around for the 64 after the trouble. Hook, his connection has stabilized for a while now. He's down in 19th. You're saying there's a chance.
When you're on the track, you always have a chance. Obviously, the 88, one of the quickest cars in qualifying, almost took pole position as well. I mean, I say almost, like absolutely on top of it. But that Jurassic Park Chevy has their work cut out for them. How about that for an understatement?
Yeah. And again, you need green flag laps to try and make passes here. So you kind of just need to say, hey, you want track position? It's up to you if you want to stay out of trouble to get it. And it looks like, see Barney's signal, I believe 2 to go is the way that signal is if it's up in the air like that from him with the 1 to go signal. Ella, I think is choosing the bottom this time. He liked the top a couple times. He's trying something different here.
Now it'll be interesting to see if Barnes can get their spot back on the inside of the 23 of Van Alstyne. Again, it seems to just go the way of whoever has positioning behind the leader, behind the control car. As you've said, Justin, really good launches from the control car. And just kind of a really quick side note, the 1909 balloon race that we saw at the very beginning of the broadcast has just been kind of sitting in the back of my mind, and I've gone, who could have possibly won the 1909 gas-filled balloon race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a couple years before they actually opened the speedway? And answers on a postcard. It's John Barry and Paul McCullough, who were in the air for 35 hours during that race. They covered over 350 miles from Indianapolis. And it was the University City balloon that took the honors that day. So not nearly as quick as this, not nearly as, probably not nearly as exciting as this, but still some little bit of Indianapolis trivia.
Kind of interesting to say the very least, but hey, it's about intriguingness, if you will. You'll see for a race like this, I guess you can kind of say. We'll say, at the very least, we're coming up to the restart. 39 to go. The entire pack bunching up and ready to fly. Here we go. To the restart zone we go with the orange. Green, green, green. We're backing away. And the 23 had a bit of a bobble up to start. Barnes able to keep alongside for second. Here we go. The battle is on all across the field. Here we go again. Into the wall. William Van Alstyne amongst those hitting to the fence and losing multiple spots down to the edge of the top 5. While some of the others look to go side by side. That includes drivers like Thompson pushing John Williams ahead. You see up the road just how much the others were able to get single file as the leader got a gap already of more than 6/10.
Thompson is in a world of hurt, losing a lot of positions there. Chasen McCook losing, I believe, a pair. Sean Hook up to 17th, make that 16th already with a move on Vadnais. Oh, and they're crashing down into the pit road, it looks like. The 12 spinning countless times before stopping right at pit entry.
Caution is out. No, yes it is. As you can see, Martinak amongst those involved. Joshua Wise also amongst those involved. Sean Hook also had to come down again for technical issues. Let's see what happened. Oh, and it was Hook who actually caused that.
And also a good call there by the 12. Again, backwards into pit lane and just immediately toes it. Not very far to go, but also, oh man. Yeah, so just out of 4. 88. Somebody else basically spinning. That looks like the 91. Joshua Wise, who currently has a black flag.
And I think part of that is tightness for the 12, I think, in that situation. You'll see one more time. You see how he missed the bottom. Hook still got the run at the same time, which doesn't help the factor in that.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough entry and excellent, rough exit for the 12. Excellent entry. Excellent exit for the 88.
And here's Wise. He needed to serve a penalty, and that's why he's wrecked the race car. And here's the thing. You needed to stay green to serve the penalty. So all this is to say, they're yellow, 37 to go. I'm surprised there are a couple of the drivers towards the front who came down, but they elect to try something different maybe with the 13-lap offset, including Robinson here. Well, it doesn't help he's got nose damage. That would explain why, from some of the chaos that he's been dealing with in the pack. Surprised he didn't fix the more into the nose damage, though.
Yeah, I think maybe kind of a grip it and rip it approach. Maybe the 18 just going to see what they can do from here on out. Again, we've got a lot of racing to go here. Looking at about 36 laps, or a little bit under that once we go green once again. And it's been an up and down day for the 18. Running up, I believe, up into the top 5 for a couple laps. And then, of course, having some side-by-side battling. Ethan Thompson back up into the top 10 as well. So I think as low as almost 11th or 12th for Ethan Thompson on that restart. Able to get back a handful of spots. The 98 running the low side. Sean Hook and Ethan Thompson running really low while staying off of that lighter colored and raised section on the inside of each apex. Mm-hmm. So that seems to be helping them out a treat. But again, the restart for Thompson, a nightmare last time out.
I want to check in with our in-race reporter. Second check-in with Mikey Robinson. Mikey, why didn't you get the damage fixed from the stack-up?
I actually did. I actually got all the 30 seconds.
That's weird. I still see the damage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still crushed in.
Well, it hadn't been affecting me much anyway, so we'll see here. We'll come back down and do what we need to with it.
Don't forget to uncheck the tires here, but obviously it's been a bit of a feisty one How would you describe the way the racing has felt in the pack?
Oh man, it's sketch. You got to make the passes when you can. I mean, track is starting to free up quite a bit here, so we'll see where it leads. I mean, the car's again still fine. I haven't had to make any changes, just tires, 4 fresh stickers, and full tank of fuel.
So just out of curiosity, what's that number now say?
Oh, well, yeah, we're at 9 seconds, so oops.
Now your nose looks good. Thanks for the time.
There we go. Absolutely.
Mikey Robinson helping him realize he was going to restart with about 20 seconds of damage, James.
Yeah, JP there looking out for the 18. Good crew chief there in Justin Prince working for the 18. And yeah, so obviously anyone new to this kind of series goes, well, why does that matter, right? So the front is, bashed in, the lights are fake anyway, all that stuff. Obviously the air all over these next gen cars specifically, it's so important to have the airflow properly for good top speed and predictable handling. We talked about getting tight as well. And so in a race like this, you just absolutely can't go anywhere if your car is not in the optimal range in terms of the tire temps, in terms of the way that you're expecting the car to behave. And we've seen a lot of drivers having to take evasive action, trying to get down the inside or the outside, as it were, on restarts. So it's been very, very tough, and you want your car in 100% working condition.
See them already trying to get to the bumper to the 90 for the restart. Here we go, coming to 35 laps to go. In the zone, Manoa leads them off. We're back to racing. Good start again for the 90 up on the top line, as look who's up there. That is Domer, the winner from Daytona. Can he go back-to-back to start?
Well, the 014 can certainly go straight around the outside of the previous leader in Barnes. That's now the 8, Jamal Pugh. Trying to have a look around the outside of Chris Echapar. Nothing doing there. Oh, apologies. On the way back, getting a bit of a tow up front from Barnes. And the 8 has cleared. Should be going straight to the bottom. A bit of a late apex. And now it's Thompson on the inside of Ramsey.
See how much Ramsey just letting by his teammates, recognizes the speed there, letting them get it settled in, as a few of them are lined up together. Everybody starting to use the Dragon down the front stretch. Wise finally gets to service Pelony, and Thompson takes the white along the inside of Echapari. The leader still holding on by 3 car lengths up out the very front of it. As you can see, Echapari in the background able to defend with the 90, working his way through. Here's the look at the teammates all scrapping together.
Yeah, Thompson looks really, really quick at this restart. Not even bothering, basically trying to keep the friction to a minimum. You see him right there in the cockpit, right up on top of that wheel, and locked in. As again, look at, there's just no margin to the bottom for the 98, absolutely going to the very edge of the racetrack. And it just looks so solid, as again, teammate up in front. Jamal Pugh, apologies, Ethan Thompson having a look.
Yep, no poke yet. Staying in line. You've seen the purple lap in the race. That is one of the things tracked. That was a 52.047. First time, second time actually, we've had anybody go in the 52 flats here in this race today. For the most part, you've seen fast laps around the 1s, the 4s, but that kind of solidifies how much this track temp has gone down and down a bit. Now -6 from when we started the race.
Oh, a close call here. That was very, very close. We're down the inside. McCook. We're going to have a look at Nicholas Kelch, and Kelch hanging tough around the outside.
That's Loach actually alongside Kelch. But you can see he's trying to get the side drop, but not doing it aggressively. See just how much that 51 started work already involved sophisticality behind him. See the comeback for the 23. You'll see. All this is bundling up this entire group. You know who's also in this group? Sanek, as the caution is out, the 13's around. We're back under yellow as Christopher Reel involved in the contact. That is the Tulsa, Oklahoma driver for Fire for Effect Motorsports. And tempers are flaring in the in-sim chats right now a bit, but Reel sees this under caution. Was battling with drivers like Wilson Jr. inside Russ.
Yeah, this develops. There's a run for the 13. Oh, it's not a run for it's the complete opposite. 28 on the scene, Richard Wilson Jr., and then 64 into the wall. 13 joining them backwards. The 28 getting a fantastic look. And then just gets a little bit tight and just collects the 64 high side. 28 doesn't seem to be damaged in any meaningful way. Again, there's an opening with the 13 just trying to get a wide entry. Try to keep that minimum speed as high as possible. And there is some damage there on the 28.
And we've seen Wilson involved in a couple bits of contact here tonight. 30 to go now in the action. We're about 20 laps into the stints here with plenty of pace laps. Is it too early to take the service here? Or do you try and keep the track position to make sure you're safe for another caution? Looks like that answered itself a little bit. Barnes is the first in.
Trying to have a look. I think this is the right way to go. I think the sooner the better, because obviously everybody else going to be coming in a little bit later on. Will be kind of forced in later on. But the way that it's going, long runs are, I was going to say, are at a premium. I wouldn't really know about long runs at the moment with how the drivers were. Again, it looked like they were kind of settled, but with the amount of positions drivers are trying to look and gain, as we're going to expect the 27 to take all four. That'll be the last time that Barnes is going to be wanting to hit pit road. Yeah, I think right now is when you really want to come down. I think that with the way the race is going, the complexion of the race seems to be a little bit caution happy. And so I would not be surprised if we have another caution, which means that they should easily be able to make it to the end.
And that's going to be, again, the importance of you're banking on more cautions to make sure you save. And I think the trends say that's a possible or likely. Not to say anything about the way the race has gone. That's, again, just what some of the trends. But as we work our way through, why don't we take the chance to try and think about conversation points, as looks like JJ Pope has already indicated their car is done for the night. And the rest of the field just tries to make sure they don't have any issues to join on the wrecker either. It's been a wild one, is what I'm trying to say, for a lot of the field. Robert Burke confirmed it was a power outage for his case, too.
Yeah, lots of different types of attrition. And again, it takes a lot. Obviously, with this kind of event, this kind of season, it takes a lot to do well. And there's a lot of boxes to tick, literally and figuratively. So making sure that all of your gears working correctly, making sure that you have what you need, but also, again, it can just be down to bad luck, as we've seen in this event. Hook being one of the main competitors unable to fight at the front. We also saw an incident with Hook as well.
Yeah, now, as the 24 had tech issues now, was running 20th. More drivers continue to see spikes. That is Varda, who's now left the session and trying to come back to the racetrack and show his pit pass and say, hey, let me back in. We're coming up to a restart with 28 laps to go. And Ella and Domer ready to control things when we get to the front straightaway. I was about to say before the caution flag, you've had drivers like Stanek that have been able to recover from multiple different incidents tonight. Might have a chance with the way the attrition stacked up to maybe sneak away with a top 10 in one of those cases.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely possible. And of course, as we said, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's also very important, right? Every lap that we turn is counting toward the 90, so it's really going to 90 laps, I should say. So it really is important for these drivers to obviously try to keep it clean for themselves. Meanwhile, out at the front, right, you're looking at, the top 6, the top 7 on your screen. Chase McCook kind of off to the side. It's really going to be a case of keeping it clean as much as possible, trying to be there at the end. Another talking point we had earlier on, just having the healthiest car possible. And with all of these yellow caution laps, track position even more.
Here we go. Manoa again leads off the pack. Close to Nia taking the top off for a lot of this field. Field has a chance for some jumble ups if we see more yellows. We're backing away. Look at Ethan Thompson. He's taking the chance to take his belt to second spot. There goes the run for the 98 to P2. Some of the others just trying to find something like couch up on the outside. A couple drivers in the wall in the back of the field. Looking like we're still green though.
Ronald Breland trying to have a look down the inside, opening up the corner as Van Alstyne. Look on the bottom of Joshua Sanook in the 091. Making their way back through. They all snake through. We're almost single file.
All this is starting to become a well-connected train, if you will, amongst this pack. A couple of the others at the back, like Wise, taking some pokes. Still in the lead lap, by the way, even with the penalty serve, with the way things have gone this evening. The 91's been surviving. That's the big bright side to their day. Now in the conversation to pick up more if they were able to find some passes coming up here with drivers like Powell next up for position.
The onboard, the 10 going very, very high. Able to sneak on through is the Red Bull liveried machine. On the 10 Great Lakes machine. Great Lakes currently leading the championship in A Open. And Thompson has not been messing around all day long. Nice and composed on the interview, nice and composed on the track. And this does not, will potentially make a little bit of saving. But again, a very wide entry. The 90 kind of going a bit more shallow. Look at the run the 98 has.
Here we go for the race lead. We haven't seen the on-track battle for the lead in a little bit. But hey, avoid the Snickers. Thompson tries to avoid a free ride in a cop car. From the Crime Stoppers machine, it's Thompson who finds a way to the race lead. And here comes Domer as well.
A little bit of a half look to the outside. Nothing doing. Manella trying to close that off and just trying to kind of connect with the 98 out front. So I don't think Manella's going to be going anywhere in terms of this top 3 battle. They could find themselves in third of those 3. They may not mind it at the moment. Thompson is moving, and we have another caution.
And back to yellow, and this is what some of the leaders needed for their mileage to be able to take some service. As we're back on the caution flag. See what happened, and I believe the 46 may or may not be involved or around that situation. 2 laps down can confirm that apologies are coming up as well for one of the Adams, the 21 of Kyler Adams, also apologizing on the radio. Can confirm John Williams, contact with him. And should be mentioned, Williams is not happy on the radio right now. James.
Able to keep it in. Yeah, so there's a bit of a near miss earlier, followed by a nibble. All the cars pointed in the right direction, but yeah, so we're going to see this here. So we're going to basically kind of have the 21 underneath and just looking for that little bit more, right? If you've got a car on the outside, if you push a little harder and hope the front end stays, you're basically driving the car with your right foot at that point. Yeah, see, we settled a bit, then we try to push a little bit harder. No contact. There's the 57 trying to catch it. Again, these next-gen cars notoriously tricky to catch once they're sideways.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people come down this time, especially with 23 to go. Should be green light to go on gas, even with pace laps from here on out. Green white checkers is a different story, possibly. But here's the thing with some of those like Ramsey who came down, they can also save with some caution periods. Along with Robinson, taking a big gamble here, is still staying out after 13 laps on the stint. As you can see, most of the field as expected is in. And this is going to be interesting how some of the drivers handle being up the front here with this.
Making sure everybody hits their pit boxes here again with how important the track position is. I'm trying to make sure nobody's deep. The 11 might have been DC Robinson. Oh, and we have the 23 around Van Alstyne. There's a stack up in the middle of the pit lane. And that was the Home Depot 23, one of the cars coming back through the field. JP, what is going on?
Let's find out here. See, normal pit service.
Coming out.
Oh, I think he lit it up. Yep. Oh, he is lucky that he had cars phase through until that point. So, the New York Taxi sponsor driver having a moment. And that is why he's already towed the race car. And is done. I don't know what the plan may be for Robinson here. It's time for check-in number 3, our final one of the day, because it's time to see the speed secrets and find out why he stayed out when he's out of the range. Mikey, what's the plan here on this fuel?
We're praying for a caution. We're praying for a caution at this point. I'm taking a big risk doing this. I guess you could say I'm greedy and I wanted that lap lead. I wanted to lead some laps here in Major League Series of Racing. So we're going to bank on a caution, and if we get the caution, we're going to come down and get that.
Okay, so in our words, you will be planning to come down if there's an air caution. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so you need, I was going to say, the projections have you out of the range on fuel. So, good luck out there.
If we get this caution, we're definitely coming down, leaving the tires on, and then saving them saving a set for if we get a green white checkered.
Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Well, that answers that question. He's going to come down on the next one, and he's not going to try and hope for caution, 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 to say the least.
Yeah, that's what I thought that he was going for. He was playing at as the 18. Again, putting on some pretty good moves earlier on. Right at the, maybe the first 2 or 3 stints, the 18 involved in some pretty serious battling and able to hold it around the outside of a couple of the corners. But again, it's so hard when you have somebody to your door try and hang around the outside, and especially with the tendency to go, or basically the tendency for the car to get tight is such a big risk. So let's Let's see what kind of restart. Interested to see where the 18 goes in the restart zone as well, as normally the later the leader goes in the restart zone, the longer they wait before pressing the gas, the more likely the rear of the field are to stack up. So interested to see if they've kind of got the rhythm down by now.
So here we go. Restart time, 21 laps to go. Robinson hoping for more cautions. Richard Wilson Jr. might be in the same boat. Everybody else going to be close, if not good on gas, with or without caution flags. All set for the restart. Green back underway. And everyone trying to shuffle to the bottom just like that, James.
Christian Barnes almost had a look to the bottom of the 28. I thought that was the 27. Oh, and they're all stacking up behind. That's one of the ignition cars. Got the 99 and the 13 as well. And yeah, that is Chris Echapar. Gary May falling back as well. Stationary on the track.
So another yellow.
Well, there's one for Mike Robinson if he's looking for a handful of them, which is not the plan.
Yeah, some of the drivers extra par and a few others stack on in. Again, everyone excited to build their Lego brick towers and smash them on into the rest of the tower.
Oh, just four, what was that? 4 different hits? You're hanging onto the wheel trying to figure out which way to go, and it's absolute ping pong. So 1 hit, 2 hits, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
6.5 out of 10, I guess you could say. But hey.
I think that might be a 1 out of 10 from the 9's perspective there. But yeah, that wasn't the way that they wanted to get that started. And again, that kind of came from the bottom as well. So potentially somebody dropping that left front a little too far down. We saw some of the drivers that were really putting in some serious laps, gaining a couple of positions. Thompson and Ramsey getting that left front right into the spot that they needed. As now we see Robinson looking like they may be relinquishing the lead of the race. They do.
That's not a surprise. He got the caution he was waiting for. Now, should be fuel only, he said, right? Keep the car light. Have the best fuel mileage just in case for green-white checkers. Difficult part. It's going to have to make up a lot of ground here. We're talking about restarting down to the teens. We're down to 22 still on the track or so, give or take, by the way. Maybe 23. Yeah, just took fuel, topped it off and away. Lucky dog. See Williams, after his contact, able to zip around and come in for his service too. But you know, I was about to say, Adam Ramsey now is the one who's in control here, and I wanted to check in with him earlier. I know this might disrupt the flow on sending all of the race footage to his teammates from the in-car, but Adam, you're in the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
I do. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. How's it feel now that you've found your way to the front for the first time after being in the pack most of the evening?
I've been up here for a little while. I was running third for most of the race, and then I got shuffled back to try to fix damage, and then just make our way back up here. But feels good. I hope the strategy works. I need about 1 more caution, even though we've had 1,000 of them. I think that'll set me up on fuel, and I'll be good.
So you just said you're not good currently, even with the couple cautions for the clutch and coast here. What else have you been keeping an eye on with the cooler track, because it is dipping now below 100?
Yeah, just making sure that, you know, the car is going to tighten up a little bit. Just making sure that I'm hitting my marks. Maybe back the corners up a little bit. But no, I'm not going to make it as of now. Hopefully we get another caution, as bad as it's been with cautions. I need another 1 or 2, and then I'll be good.
Well, You're all set to control this field. You mentioned part of the game plan already. What else do you think we should be watching from you and your teammates here for this upcoming restart?
Let's just keep it clean. You know, it's been a very, very nasty race, so let's just keep it clean. And they're arguing here and just on chat here. Sorry.
What'd you get your race admin hat on as a result? Good luck.
Thank you, buddy.
Time to put out the cap for race control as Adam Ramsey tries to control the troops. Kyler Adams is in second. Christian Barnes in top 3. Corey Powell has been around a couple times in slides and contact. He's up in 4th.
Yeah, the 92 was putting on a show, very, very adamant that the outside line at Daytona last week for the A Open was the line to be. Couldn't make too many friends, had a little bit of support on the outside line, but it was a very inside line heavy run for that event. And the 92 stuck it out. And guess where the 92 is? On the outside here at Indianapolis, which has not seen the best run and is going to be behind the second place car of Kyler Adams in the 21. So Powell again, going to see what they can do from the outside. I'm assuming that everybody's going to be trying to tuck in as we have a fantastic aerial shot of this absolutely enormous facility.
Yeah, this is pretty large when you think about it because you have a golf course here. You have the snake pit during the big events, obviously, but also a dirt track when this version of iRacing scan Indianapolis. You also have the road course that's around this facility that hosts multiple events per year. It's been pouring rain in real life here this weekend at Indy because did some karting work remotely in the region. It was a monsoon in Indy for the RMC Trophy this weekend at this track to the point where they had to cancel the Drift Fest that was at the Brickyard. It's been busy at this facility in real life. And in the region for racing, we have 17 to go for our race tonight. Green, 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 we're backing away.
Ramsey goes right in the dead center of the restart zone. Barnes jumps the 21 of Adams and is looking like they're going to have a look at the 97 almost any second now. Ramsey trying to, I was going to say scurry away, rockets away as we're too wide further back. Powell on the outside.
Looking to all find a way to go, and here we go again. More drivers scatter about down the straightaway with some wall contacts. That includes drivers such as Harris. Couch amongst those having some moments that caused all of that. Couch is broken as he hits the wall again.
Almost another incident, almost sliding in front of Joshua Wise in the 91 Red Bull machine. Again, they're all just looking for that air desperately. Powell dropping quite significantly. Ethan Thompson trying to have a look maybe around the outside. It looks like the 67. Brad Harris. Now trying to go down the inside. Meanwhile, the top two breaking away. I was going to say the top two. There's only one car up at the front, and there goes Loesch, the 51, down the inside of Adams. And has a bit of help as well.
Yeah, got some help from the 90. Manella, they're pushing each other along here in the two Chevys. I'll miss the bottom, though. Of course, Kyler Adams up the racetrack. Coming up to 15 laps to go. And this is the type of run the leaders may not have wanted. They might have to be clutch and coast here.
Well, it looks like Ramsey is absolutely building up a gap that they can kind of soften into. As the fastest lap of the race from the 97 as you ride on board, dropping down a 4th gear. And looking relatively tidy.
Yeah, he's setting fastest laps of the race right now. That's the opposite of a fuel save.
Yeah, it almost looks like a, not a bump and run, but just trying to bolt right out of the gate. And I mean, Christian Barnes is as close to Ramsey as the rest of the field is to Barnes. So Barnes has cleared the field by 1 second, apart from the driver who's cleared them by 9/10.
Somebody has to tell him, don't be afraid to use the clutch into the entry here. You can use it. You've got a gap. It's already 0.8 of a second over somebody who's in the same boat as you. Look at this.
Fascinating, JP, to figure out what in the world. Oh, it's a shot into the back of Robinson. Oh, and they're almost wrecking. They're able to keep the car out of the wall. This is really feeling like the end of the race here. Now drivers trying to desperately make up those spots, and they're running out of time.
Robinson trying to find a way to make the pass to the outside, possibly. He is one of the drivers that's using 5th gear, nearly arced into the 8. Good reset. Back in line. Enteerprises backs up his corner. That's one of the things I haven't touched upon. You can change the gear ratios a bit, a tiny bit of window. A lot of the drivers tonight sticking in 4th, many others in 5th to maximize the revs. Robinson amongst those, trying to maximize his in the heart of the field. More contact for Robinson.
Yeah, still stuck on the outside at the moment. And a good run from Enteerprises a little further up. Now the 91 trying to have a look down the inside. Joshua Sanook. Oh, and the 91 almost goes around. Drivers are really using these tires up.
Really using their cars up here. Another moment. That involving Wise having to back up. Sanook also in it. Up front. Look at this again. The 51 of the 90 staying in sync. Keep in mind, Manella is the first of those who topped off into the most recent caution period. He's looking like he's moving ahead. 2 cautions ago, I should say. So if there are fuel issues for the first 2 or 3, it'd be him in the position to battle. Hook is also in this too, along with Thompson.
Having to double check my data there. The 88 is on your screen. They are just behind, as you said, just behind Thompson by about 0.2 of a second, and it looks like it may be closing. The 98 ignition machine gets a really, really mean run out of 4. We're having to look at them trying to be lockstep in with Manella. And again, just goes right to the bottom, does not move an inch.
Oh!
As the 90 does move several inches, and now is kind of trapped to the bottom. Hook has to back out.
He had a tech issue in the middle of the corner and got loose with the arrow. Able to still stay behind Thompson, and here we go, it's Robinson around. Sliding for contact, down pit road, no caution yet. Wilson pulls onto the track and loops it as well. We're back under caution.
This is big for Barnes and Ramsey, obviously big for Robinson as well with that issue. But Ramsey was literally, we were just talking to the 97 about if they were able to get there cleanly. Oh my goodness. Powell almost buying it as well.
Said he got loose and then he got tight and then everything happened. That is your WLT2 Motorsports machine. 3-4 car incident. Powell made it through barely.
Looks like the 28 Wilson as well involved. Oh no, JP. Oh no. Okay, we able to. Well, I was gonna say we're gonna able to save it. We hit the pit wall, but not in the way that would have been catastrophic for the entirety of that Camry.
And we're under 10 laps to go here. Well, there's the caution Ramsey was waiting for. Would explain why if you're expecting a caution, I guess not lose time. And now they should be good up at the point. And now here comes the next question. Does anybody have a tire set left? Are you willing to risk going to the back here and take one?
I couldn't imagine doing that. Obviously, Hook has come up through the field a million bajillion times, so what's one more? Maybe the call from the 88, but if you're Ramsey, what you're hoping to happen is happening, which has got to feel pretty good. The more laps under caution, the better for the leader, of course, or at least the top 2, or top 3, I should say, as Loesch may get the better jump. And those 0-1-4. There's a couple people trying to fake us out, fake everybody out, in fact. So Domer, the first one down.
And I think for some of the drivers, it's thought of, why not? Try and see if there's a difference enough going to be with the tires. It has been a huge difference tonight. We've seen people on 10-lap older tires stay up front here this evening. But if you have a set and you don't think you're going to win the race just staying out, why not just take a set, bolt it on, find out what you can do?
Yeah, absolutely. Some drivers thinking about the championship points, trying to get a top 10, get a top 5. Other drivers thinking, I want to take home the big trophy. I'm not here to, you know, get a certain position. I want to talk to Justin Prince after this thing.
And you.
Well, not if you win.
You get to talk to you if you finish second.
That's true. Which, of course, is why we have me in second place. It's the punishment for not winning.
Guess so. As you can see, some speeding penalties popping up. We haven't seen too many of them, believe it or not, feels like tonight. But we do have a couple of those that have pulled up on your check boxes. If you're at the back of the field, it doesn't really matter if you have a speeding penalty, though, does it?
Yeah, no, it just kind of, it brings you right back in, so all that gets eaten up by the fact that we are under caution. Not necessarily a get-out-of-jail-free card, but it is something that, of course, I don't think you could abuse it, right? I don't think you could just fly on through like the good old days of, well, not quite sure about stock car racing, but with things like Formula One and other styles of motorsport, there was a time when there were no pit speed lanes, or apologies, pit lane speed limits. So drivers would just come in as fast as possible, park next to some people, they'd chuck some fuel into a hose or something and just let her rip. So now, of course, we're a little more sensible than that. We're still kind of crazy, but we are leaning towards order as the drivers try to get themselves in double file order.
All of this is with Ramsey looking to try and get a victory here on the track. The 42-year-old is up at the head of the field. And keep in mind, looking at the stats, remember, needs a good night for the points to be able to get back in the swing of things as we get closer and closer to the races towards the end. Remember, 4-race chase in this championship. We're talking about a little bit before tonight and throughout the week. You have to be able to be up there to have a chance to be in contention for said chase.
Yeah, definitely. And again, we've also talked about how long of a season it is, how many different styles of track we go to. So it really is, you know, you've got people who are not necessarily specialists with this type of track, but, you know, Daytona, the draft festing out there. You've got the short tracks that we will be visiting. So it's going to be a tall order for these drivers to do well across the entirety of the season.
There's a lot of different concerns, absolutely, as you go about it. Remember, the Auto Club, if memory serves right, yes, going to be coming up a part of the schedule. This one, Joseph Prince, James doing it with you. Bradley Cooper's been a producer throughout the evening here tonight. It's come to 7 laps to go. Here we go. See all the fans, the virtual ones at least, on their feet. Was expected to keep on being a fun battle to the end. Ring of green back in our way. And as you can see, things look steady up front, but for how long?
Christian Barnes shuffled back to, looks like 4th position. Ethan Thompson down the inside, and here comes Manella as well. 27 cannot get back in line, and now able to clear the 90. Trying to have a look at, I believe we're on board with Thompson at the moment. Yes, we are in third position. Barnes losing out, and there's just no time.
No time to waste to be able to win this race. You need to go. Loach amongst them. Right now, you see the battles, though, for tires like Powell now amongst the top 10. The fresh tires like Domer are looking to make some cuts. Now up in the 10th position as they come up to 6 to go.
Domer trying to have a look at the back of the 92 of Powell going around the outside. And this is where the fresh tires come in. Domer is the first driver on those fresh Goodyear Eagles. And it's just going around the outside. I was going to say everybody, but just a handful of drivers. But look how many they have to go if they want to get into at least the top 5. And now Powell's in a little bit of trouble.
Here we go, contact, Etchipar, Powell. A little bit of rubbing on the fenders, and Powell goes out of the groove. Powell able to keep it out of the wall at least, but that's not going to make him too happy. He's up 18 from his starting spot, but he's back to 14th with 5 to go.
Yeah, well outside the top 10. Just with that one moment, here comes Ethan Thompson trying to have a look at Loesch, who's up 14 positions on the day. 0.7 of a second as the 98 gets tight.
See a couple of the drivers getting dicey. Barnes amongst them. Still senior contact that involves Kelch getting hit. He's able to hold on as you look up at the front. Loach has actually ran away with second with Barnes down in third. Fourth is now Thompson coming to 4 to go. You also throw Manella in the mix trying to use the high side.
Just getting absolutely frantic in every single maneuver. Every single moment of this race is affecting the rest of the train. Manella having a look at Thompson when they made the mistake. So everybody flies onto the pit straight, and now it's got Manella back into the 8 of Q. It's getting very, very close, and Hook is now on the outside trying to open that corner up, getting a bit of a wall scrape. Thompson down low, but we're still side by side, and Hook's not going away. And here they come trying to get 6th position. Q able to hang down low, but loses out on the momentum.
All of them trying to find a way to get up to Ramsey, who pulls away. Real just out of the race now with technical issues. 25 still turning laps. Late in this one. Coming to 3 to go. Barnes wants second. Look how low he went. Couldn't get there. Right now, Thompson trying to set himself up on Barnes as a result. Powell knocks the wall down in the background. But that 51 looking secure for second possibly, with everyone hot potatoing the positions for third.
90 really sent it up there as Manella now losing out to Barnes, losing out to Hook. Back to 6th position for the 90 and just trying to get back in line, able to shut the door in front of the 8. We're looking on board here with the 88 of Sean Hook. Going down low, see what this looks like on board.
Caution. We're under yellow. It's Wise again. And this means green, white, checker time. Hard contact to the wall. Let's see what happened again.
And down into 1. Oh, and just a clean. I thought there was a bit of an overlap, but it's just a clean shot to the rear. And can we talk about how much traction the cars, or not traction, but how much grip level the cars have. So the 91 able to get a bit of a jump, and we just kind of do a bit of a glance on the rear. 91 trying to come back up onto the racing line. Oh, man. Really close calls there. The 91 trying to rejoin. Cars slinging through it well over 160.
So green, white, checker territory. Remember, 2 attempts available in this series. If we get to the white flag, it's a race to the checkered. If we get a caution, we'll reset for one final time. If we wreck again before the white flag, it'll end under caution. Here comes the question. Do drivers like Ramsey, Loesch, along with Barnes, have enough gas for the green-white checkers?
That is really going to be interesting. Obviously, we were trying to give some answers on how much fuel the 97 has, how much fuel Barnes has, and the answers are maybe with that high-pitched whine there. And I love races that end like this because we're 90% sure that maybe it'll work out, but we just do not know. And that's the best kind of motorsport, is when everybody's just a little bit unsure. So you really are going to try and do what you can. Again, this is such an interesting position, right? Because when we have 2 attempts on a track like this, right? We're not at Bristol. We're not at a, you know, something like a Martinsville. This is an absolute monster. And so a lap here is absolutely, you know, whether you either you can do it or you can't. It's very, very difficult to make up enough to have an extra lap in the tank. You see Powell there trundling off of pit road. This really is going to be an edge of the seat type of finish.
And obviously this is a tough track in the first place with what we see nutrition wise, but remember, we still have more action coming up down the line here for next week. We touched upon this bit. Auto Club, that's going to be a different flavor of racing in terms of what we may see. Multi-group potential possibilities in 3 and 4 especially. That's a track with a worn surface, obviously, in the iRacing service, though. That is not as draft dependent like a track like Michigan. Everyone just taking their time to make sure they get to the 2 to go signal here. But James, your thoughts on this green-white checkered situation?
Well, Ramsey running away is one of the big question marks, right? I mean, obviously Barnes has the pace. Ramsey's got the pace. Barnes kind of hung out to dry on the outside. And also Barnes, the 27's on the outside at this point as well. Ethan Thompson has looked probably the raciest of anybody. Hook's involved there as well. So I'm looking at Ramsey, Thompson, and Hook. So right on board with Barnes, who is absolutely making sure that that front end works.
That's a pace car.
The pace car, apologies. We were on board. I think I blinked for a moment and we lost we lost the driver's eye view there from Barnes and loaded into the pace car, who has been doing a very good job today. Has been called upon many, many times and is really, really earning their pay. So props to the pace car there for making sure that everybody is doing the correct double file here.
First green-white checkered attempt coming up. If you've been enjoying the action tonight, be sure to like and subscribe to today's coverage. You know, the YouTube algorithm thing, because it does help in the algorithm. But the viewers all getting set for what's going to be an interesting night. Capper is the word looking for. Ramsey, Loesch, Thompson, Barnes, Hook, Manella, Poe, Domer, Echipar, Berland. Amongst those inside the top 10, we still have about 21 on the lead lap here at Indy.
I think the biggest thing I'm looking here for, JP, is going to be the 27 if they lose out on the start. If the 8 of Jamal Poe can get up the inside of the 27, if that's a possibility, that's going to be a crazy battle, as we've seen the 8 really pushed up into 1. I don't know if it's going to go that way, but if it does, the 8 and the 27 may be the 2 side by side coming out of 2.
Here we go, 2 laps to go when we get rolling. Green-white checker attempt number 1. Ring, ring, green. We're underway again. A good start for Ramsey. Look at that. Hook trying to send it deep. Right alongside Thompson on the curbing just about. to try and take away third. Contact, and up in the wall goes Thompson, and they wreck. Hook is around, the caution is out.
Disaster for the 88 facing the wrong way, and a really close call as well. I believe that might have been the 15 maybe. Couldn't quite tell who that was. Obviously, caution out again, and just bitter disappointment, right? Disappointment right at the very start. Connection issues. And it means that the 97 is going to be in the lead on the second run. Decent start for Loesch on the outside. And a big old shot from Thompson as they rub on the way in. Really good racing here. And the 88's going to get a good drive off the second phase. The 98 into the wall a bit. And I think the 88 left only a cup car's width. And with that wall strike, the 98 tried to get off the wall. And that's where Thompson and the 88 came together. So let's see what kind of impact. We're going to hit the wall and then just kind of bounce back into the 88. No margin.
I think there was already door contact there too that already pushed Thompson up even more than that. That was going to be a tight window in the first place with him down below the white line.
Oh, you're right. There was a bit, yeah, further down. You're absolutely right that there was contact earlier on.
And all of that is big because obviously big yellow flag, tough situation. Thompson's driven up to third again after all of that here. So this is all going to potentially get sorted because Hook, who was up there before all of that happened, going to be sent down the order on the plummet. We'll have to try and see what he can do from 21st with what is going to be very tight fuel windows now for him. This puts us down to the final attempt at a green-white checkered in a few minutes' time.
Who has the milliliters of fuel, the ounces of fuel needed to get these cars across the line?
Oh, and this might get interesting with the 51. I think they just stole a lap. Because technically, I think that counts for a lead lap for iRacing because of the caution. I guess that's a way to get a point. I don't know if they're going to officially do it, but they do sort things out again. Sometimes drivers this late will say, you know what? I want a lead lap on the board. Let's try and make sure no one notices as I pass them.
Accidentally going quickly there. Yeah, that's clearly in front of the pace car, and it's clearly in front of the pace car for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. I think we have the lead now. We basically have overtaken the pace car. We're clear, and then we kind of back it off into one.
Yeah, we'll see what
the powers that be may have a bit of a talk.
We'll see if they manually adjust that. It's essentially, again, this point system also is picked up in the iRacing system. Follow along with some of those logs. For example, point aggregates usually carry over from the official in sim and then get put through the official websites and onward for a series like this. Now, curious what Jacob Loesch from the Mid-Pack Motorsports camp is going to be saying here, because we haven't caught up with that camp yet. Jacob, do you have a copy?
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
It's been a physical one at times for you, but you have a chance to win this. How are you feeling?
Not good. I got 1.7 laps of fuel left, so it'll be tight. It'll take a miracle at this point, I think.
You're saying you're going to run out of gas?
I think so.
Okay, so what's the game plan to make sure you don't run out here, because the number you just said means 3/4 of a lap to go, maybe a quarter.
Yeah, I think we've been dealt our cards and we're just going to go for it.
Well, good luck with that attempt.
Thank you.
He's not making it, is he?
I love that graphic. That is such a difficult thing to look at because, I mean, you have too far to go, right? It would have been just fine if we had finished with the first green white checker, obviously not in any single driver's control, and absolutely there. So obviously the number dropping from the graphic, the number dropping, but in the cockpit, it's going to be even worse because he's going to know exactly how much fuel he doesn't have. And again, we talked about this. This track is a monster, and there's no real way in this scenario to make up anything like what he needs just to get it to the line. And of course, all these other drivers who are looking at plenty of fuel are not going to be worrying about the same stuff the 51 is. This is, what's the phrase? Dire straits.
And Ramsey's got to be in the same situation. Barnes is potentially in the same situation. Those are the 34 laps into a stint here, coming to 35, that we're going to see just how this comes down to fuel mileage. Can Ramsey make it on fumes? Will he get a caution to make it? Remember, if they have trouble in the top two, Ethan Thompson is the next one in line that can capitalize in third. Here we go. Final restart from the Brickyard. Green flag is out. There go the teammates to try and push along. And the ignition cars are now 1 and 2. Barnes falling back to 5th. Wall strike for Loesch. Losing ground as here comes the 90. Right back in the mix. He's tight though. Manella keeps off. More contact behind. A spin behind. It's going to be the 091. Sanek is around as they wreck on the backstretch. This means Ramsey can save to try and make it from here.
Wow, wow, wow.
Clutch and coast time, clutch and coast time. If you're some of the drivers here, he's got to be on the clutch now. They got to make it one more pace lap, 3 of these drivers do, to make sure they do not run out and lose their spots.
Is that the 98 of Thompson pushing the 97 of Ramsey?
Uh-oh.
Try and help him get there.
I don't know about that. You can see the teammates pushing.
That is pushing the leader. Yeah, I'm making sure that that's actual contact. Yeah, so that's going to be the 98 trying to give a bit of shove to Ramsey.
That's going to be an interesting conversation here again. This is a new series, right? So right now, this could be a chance for something for the rule book. I don't think they've caught up to the pace car yet. No, they haven't. So they've got to find a way to get to this car right here. So this is a interesting end here. Team Ignition just now starting to get to the pace car out of 4. Adam Ramsey, with the help of Ethan Thompson, rolling his way through. They're inside each other as Ramsey. Oh, they're pushing past the pace car. I don't know how this is going to go with Thompson also passing it, coming to the checkered. Black flags for both of them. How is this going to go now? I don't know how this is going to get sorted. Does that mean Loesch wins it? We'll have to see what the official time and its scoring sorts out. And it says Ramsey does still come out in front over Loesch. So that will actually see only Thompson get a penalty.
Yeah, Ethan Thompson showing a black flag, so drops down behind the 20 other runners. So that's the 97 of Ramsey in the lead. Manella in the 90 takes the final podium spot. Christian Barnes trying to have a look at going down the pit lane, it looked like, and then basically not sure what that was about, but it looked like the 27 trying to come down pit road and then came back out onto the track. looks like unofficially, extremely unofficially, looking like the 27 will be finishing 4th position.
I don't know if I've seen this before, and again, this might be one of the first major things for this series to have a chance to look at for future races. They tried to clear the black flag on Thompson, but obviously it was after the session officialized. They might have to manually score some of the drivers if that's the case. But here's the thing, Ramsey got pushed past the pace car here. And again, you still have to finish behind the pace car to take the checkered.
And Loesch was officially behind the pace car. So it wasn't like the 51 got ahead. But also the 51 was able to pass the pace car earlier on, JP, if we remember. And, you know, kind of potentially maybe looking to try and lead a lap or something like that. So the 51, again, coming to the line. Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be...
seen that maneuver as well. I've seen that in a race. It was Cars 1 from Pixar.
Unfortunately, that's a movie. You could fantasize differently there. And I know it was an emotional moment of the movie I'm talking about, but that isn't... That's an interesting one. Again, unofficially, Ramsey on the top of the order, getting the information from race control here. Why don't we take the chance to sort it out? We'll be back in a moment. You're watching Precision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Still sorting out details as we are at the end of this one. Again, for Major League Sim Racing, an interesting one to say the very least in the end. After drivers were on the edge for fuel, drivers getting assisted to the line, drivers passing the pace car, waiting to hear official totals, but unofficially, very unofficially, we have Ramsey, Loesch, Manella amongst that top three. That's what the sim is currently indicating from iRacing. Now, that's going to be a big discussion point here, James. on if they elect to manually change that down the line, but it was an eventful race, to say the very least, when you think about the results here.
Absolutely. We had a lot of drivers that kind of stayed up near the front, weren't really kind of able to get involved in some of those incidents. Some other drivers who were absolutely in the thick of it and had to fight back multiple times. We saw Sean Cook notably not making it to the third corner of that first green-white checker. We had to use up both of them as well. So it was a long old race. And again, it turned out fuel strategy seemed to be the biggest factor right at the death.
So obviously, unofficially, Ramsey, Loesch, Manella were the top three. This was the way things started in the qualifying. A big difference from earlier on in the day, and that's how much things have changed in terms of the conversation point, in terms of just how much things can go over the course of a race. Christian Barnes, Zach Domer, top 5 unofficially. Poe, Etchepar, Berlin, Harris, Adams, your top 10.
Yeah, really can change. And have a look at 11th, Joshua Wise, and his Mike Robinson recovering back to 12th position, considering the up and down day they had. Corey Powell falling back to 13th after a good start in the first green-white checker. Sean Hook making it to the end, but only in 14th position. Then is John Williams, Dakota Cedrus, Gregory Vedney, Gary May, Joshua Sanook, and Richard Wilson Jr. rounding out the top 20.
Yeah, 21st, Ethan Thompson, Kelch, McCook, Toppings, Pereira, Real, Trotsky. You also have William Finn. You have William, the taxi driver, should rather say. Sorry, discombobulated with how things went tonight with Edwards and Essenberg amongst those inside the top 30 here. Rest of your order continues on.
Yeah, drivers we lost over 40 laps ago. Looking at Russell Marciniak, Robert Burke, then it's Pope, Allen, Love, McCoy Sr., Conan, Matthews, and Essenberg. Lost them over 80 laps ago.
And obviously a busy end to this race. A look at the very unofficial race result here in this one, here at MLSR for the Varda Enterprises 225 here this evening. A lot I think you can discuss with drivers here after a race like this, to say the very least, James. And obviously, let's talk 3-2-1 in terms of how the pylon worked, at least for now here, because at the very least, we have Joe Manella here. Joe, how are you feeling? Unofficially top 3, but obviously a lot in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the result either way, right? Obviously, be more ecstatic and grateful to come away with a P3 finish. A lot of stuff to unpack there. With the entire race and then how it finished. So. Either way, I'm satisfied.
Well, that being said, you're one of those able to carve your way to the pack again later on, one of those who led 26 laps. How would you describe overall the type of feeling in this race car to be able to lead and do well in the pack?
Car really started to do better as the race went on. Temperature started to drop, started gaining some grip, and there were quite a few times I got stuck on the high side when guys would, send it up underneath me, and I was able to maintain it up there. So that definitely played a factor as the temps dropped lower. I got some more grip. It was easier navigating in dirty air. I just backed up my entry and, kept it glued to the bottom, able to get a run on exit. And that's pretty much it.
How do you feel about Auto Club next week?
I like Auto Club. Auto Club is very similar to Michigan in the terms of style of racing. I tend to do a little bit better at those tracks. But just like any track, it's up in the air, but I feel pretty good going into it.
Any shout you'd like to give here after this one tonight?
Yeah, just want to give a big thanks to Adam Ramsey and the guys at Major League Sim Racing for putting on the show and allowing me to come into the league. just want to also give a thanks to my team, Revolution Racing. Obviously, sporting the Mothers Against Drunk Driving paint scheme tonight. That's drunk driving is one of the things that I really don't like too much. And also, thanks to Team Conti Sim Performance for being my setup shop, and Crime Stoppers for playing a huge role in my life, and affects how I do my job. So yeah.
Congratulations on the run tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Joe Manella, right now scored in the top 3, but again, race officials, I think, are currently discussing the situation actively to sort out what the game plan is here. One of those that's going to be an interesting one is Jacob Loesch, currently scored second in the 51. He's with James.
Jacob, we have you scored as second at the moment, and obviously a little bit of stuff going on, but in terms of the pace of the 51, in terms of being up there, we talked to you just a little while ago, and it looked like dire straits. You made it to the end of this one. Talk us through it.
Well, if that had gone green for the 2 laps there, I think I would have been running out going into 3. But I was fortunate enough that the caution came out and was able to make it back around and half back to the pits the next lap, actually. So it was, track position was king. You couldn't go anywhere. That dirty air is so bad here.
When it comes to the complexion of the racing, or I guess the racecraft, I should say, across the event, we had a handful of cautions, if you want to call it that. And it seemed like some of the drivers were really starting to kind of adjust the way that they were driving. Were you kind of adjusting as you noticed how many yellows were happening, or were you just trying to stay out of trouble yourself?
I was more so stay out of trouble. I had 6 minutes of damage to fix. So every caution I was in the back and just kind of minding my P's and Q's. And you just kind of work your way through the stuff. And at the end, everyone pit, and I'm like, I got to stay out. But I got to. You couldn't make up. You couldn't pass one. Once you got in front of someone, you could stall them out pretty good.
We're heading to Auto Club next time out. How are you feeling about that venue?
I generally like that venue. I do well there. So I haven't ran these cars in 3 years. So this has been a whole learning curve the last 2 weeks for me. So hopefully it keeps getting better. I think I figured out I don't drive it hard enough. So I'm going to have to work on that. But overall, it was a good night. It started out bad, but it worked its way out, and just patient, and, took my time to get here and ended up with a decent finish. So we'll take it.
Sounds like the race came to you quite sweetly. Well, thank you so much for joining us up here in the booth, and congratulations on P2.
Thank you.
And once again, taking the time to speak with Jacob Loesch. Obviously, things are still being reviewed. So again, Ramsey, we would have the chance to normally in this situation talk, but he is one of those that has some of the discussion point is in the race control conversation, because again, currently one of the major things drivers are being told right now is to keep an eye on the website. This series does utilize a new system that not too many have had, is a competition center on the MajorLeagueSimRacing.com website, where they have all the incident bulletins that showcase anyone that's got a penalty, where they file the appeals, where they can submit if there's an incident, as well as to view any rulings in general. And it's going to be one thing to keep an eye on for all competitors and for those watching along tonight to see the official rulings on where this race stands. On that note, James, your final thoughts from the Brickyard.
Wow. It was obviously a lot of cautions. We had some really good racing as well, and the margins just dropped as the race went on. Relatively contentious end, as some drivers were on fumes, and potentially even less than that. So obviously having to stay tuned, but very, very hard racing. And again, just blown away by how much support there is for this series.
And remember, We go to California next week. It's Auto Club, as we still call it on the sim, also known as California or Fontana. That'll be on August the 9th, 8 p.m. start time. You can find that on Precision Entertainment. On that note, I would like to remind you of some of the upcoming broadcasts here on the network. On Tuesday, it's the Open. They're at the Milwaukee Mile, then Be Open. You see how things go, and yes, originally had some of the different markers on the series. It's Iowa for the B Open. It's A Open at the Auto Club. Apologies on my front for that, as I was the one who did that. And we have UIS currently tentatively scheduled to return on Saturday, but they have a tourney starting up, actually, with a race to Talladega. A part of a busy slate of races all throughout the week. Keep in mind, Moonshiners has the week off. And oh, by the way, if you want your league or special event broadcast by us, be sure to contact us today so you can learn more. On that note, it's time to say goodbye. For my colleague in the booth tonight, James Newton, and for our producer tonight, Bradley Cooper, I'm Justin Brent saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching tonight's action from the Brickyard. Congratulations to those up at the front here this evening in MLSR competition. Be sure to keep an eye on the IRB for more information. You've been watching tonight's action for the Brickyard. We'll see you on Tuesday for more MLSR racing.